I'm doing the recording now because I'll forget later.
Hey, everybody.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Bob.
We missed you at the office yesterday.
Oh, yeah, I was out on Jordan's fam tour yesterday, sitting in a minivan for about 8 hours.
Sorry. We tried the new tavern next door after work.
Oh, you did? How was it?
Yeah. It
Pretty
was
nice
good.
in
It's
there, huh?
cute and nice, and
Yeah,
we had a little charcuterie board, and yeah, it was fun.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
was it busy or?
yeah, it was full.
Okay, yeah.
Well, that's good.
Hi, Jeanette.
Hi, how are you?
Hey,
Good, good.
Hi.
well, it looks like well, we're gonna have a decent meeting, I think, today. It's a full agenda. And I think we're gonna go with the order that I've got on the agenda. Actually, I should share that. I think I'll do that right now. Where to go? There it is. Share. Okay. You guys see the agenda?
You sure do,
Yep.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Michelle,
There
can
were a
you
couple.
let people in?
Is it not showing?
I got it.
It's not showing. Am I co-host?
I'll make sure you are. Co-host.
A lot of times they pop up for me, but
You know, Zoom's always doing stuff. It's like, quit changing everything. It's like rearranging a grocery store. Stop.
We could go through all of them. I could email it. I think I put Jenny. Okay. Oh, Annabelle. What?
Yes.
No.
Well, still got another minute or so. Hmm.
I can.
Oh, there's Sandra. What a pretty day.
Gonna
Yeah,
be
it's supposed to
hot.
get a little hotter later, isn't it? Tomorrow, too.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
The weekend's going to be a scorcher.
Yeah. I don't have anybody to go boating with. I don't like going out in my boat by myself.
Is the water level down up there, Karen, or?
Somewhat.
Mhm.
It was really high last weekend and I had a heck of a time getting off my boat onto the dock because the dock was at water level and I fell and I hurt myself. I think I bruised a rib. Stupid. I thought my foot was on the dock and it wasn't. It was between the dock and the boat and I went right down and oh. So I've been
Ouch.
hurting unit for a week or so. Well, it hasn't been a whole week, but I got a really pretty bruise. Man, you should see this thing. Yeah. So I won't do that again. So I'm not gonna go on the boat till the water level goes down. Like, oh, I'll kayak.
Yeah.
A little safer, I guess. Let's see. Who do we have here? I think a good bunch. Excellent. Now, when I cover up my screen like that, this with all you guys, I'm not covering up my agenda, am I?
No.
Good, thank you. I don't know what you see over there on the other side. Let's see. I want to make sure I've got everybody on my screen. There's Natalie. Kind of waiting on the folks from the U.
Mhm.
Because I really want to make sure that when we do introductions, everybody's there. Now, I don't know who 612-390-5218 is. But we'll just give it another minute, okay? Or two.
So Karen, maybe you could just kind of, just a real quick intro. So tell us a little bit about the people that are the guests that are coming from VU.
We have Frank Doma and Michael Darger and Ali Reza Khani. And there are Ali Reza is a civil, environmental, and geoengineer who will be working with, I think, kind of the geospatial stuff, you know, the more of the physical gaps and such like that. And of the situation with our hubs. There's Elliot. Okay. And then Michael Darger and Frank have been well, Michael is more with economic development, I think. And Frank has been the one who's putting together sort of the all of the communications and such. And he's with urban and regional infrastructure at the Humphrey School of Public Affairs. I think we have a really great group of people working on this with us. And they've got a really strong background of working on hubs in what I've seen in more rural areas. Or I'm sorry, more urban areas. I think when it comes to rural hubs, this is kind of a different animal. I don't know that it's really been looked at that much. But, you know, because we don't have any in our region, I should put it that way, you know? So, and I don't know where, I think Arrowhead has got some organized, from what Sandra has told us, there's some hubs there. And I think though that this is going to lead into something really large over time, because we'll be able to then connect into our Northern Lights Express passenger rail system and trails and other things. So I think that these hubs are a door that's going to be opened and going to grow. Let's see, I haven't gotten any messages from any of them saying that there are issues going on. There's Helen.
Can whoever's on the phone ending in 5218 unmute and tell us who you are?
Sorry, I'm late.
No, you're fine. We're still waiting on our U of M folks. I'm kind of hoping that they will be on to meet all of you. And haven't seen them yet. But
Okay,
I
I'm gonna-
don't want to hold you all up here.
Is there any chance they would be on a Teams meeting? Did this get, you know, sometimes that happens.
Oh yeah, Teams just loves to get in there and
Mess with all of us.
Big
No.
Brother might be listening.
I did send the Zoom invite out like 4 times. Sorry about that, but I did. So I would think everybody had that. I wouldn't know how to.
I don't know who's on the phone either, so.
I looked up
Well-
the invite from Karen and there isn't a Teams link on there. It's all Zoom.
Okay, good. Thank you, Natalie.
Well, maybe what we could, okay. Brandon, okay. Well, people are still coming on. Oh, geez. Well, all right. Why don't I don't want to go through introductions yet, just because I want to wait, but I will give you just a little bit of a recap of what we did on May 9th when we had the Northern Lights Express passenger rail meeting. MnDOT Office of Rail came to our office and we had a great discussion and presentation by them. And it was an opportunity for people to ask questions and could then take those questions to their staff, constituents, whoever, to clarify any rumors or fears or anything like that. Plus, it gave people the opportunity to meet up and have gain a connection to be able to further ask questions later on. And so if you're at all interested in that meeting, it's on our website. And also we have put a brief on there of questions and answers that were asked and answered at the meeting. So that's written. So in case you're ever curious about, where things are at, it's on our website.
And there's a nice little timeline, not by date, but by process, that shows kind of where MnDOT is in the process and what the next steps are.
And I heard a lot on the news this morning about how well the Borealis route is going from Minneapolis to Chicago. They've gotten more riders than they expected. I think as they put it on the radio this morning, if you build it, they will come, and it's happening. And so that's the co-train to the NLX in a way, because the funding will be shared with the train cars and for the NLX and the Borealis. So they will have, but I believe the same cars, they'll be able to switch them out, and the funding is shared between the two. So with that, kind of to me, it sounds like, maybe we're next. Hopefully. Excited about that.
Positive step, that's for sure.
Yeah. We will be at the Kanabec County Fair the end of July, July 24th through the 27th. It's Thursday through Sunday. And we've got Angelina Palumbo, who will be there with us, and she'll be there representing the NLX. So it'd be cool if we could get a train car to park in front of our building, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen this year. Maybe in the future. No, but that will be fun. That'll be fun to have her there. She's a really fun gal. So I think, geez, I don't know. I'm not sure how to handle this situation, you guys.
Let's just start with introductions. There's Frank.
There's Frank. Good. Phew. Thank heavens. Okay. So once he's on and in, he's in the waiting room. Oh, he's coming in. Okay. Hi there, Frank. I don't see you now. Where'd you go?
Just doesn't have a camera on. He's there.
I can't see his. Okay. All right. Well, all right, let's begin. I want to make sure that when you do introduce yourself, that you have your camera on if you don't mind. And also, possibly if you wouldn't mind, put your name and your contact information in the chat. And I can save the chat at the end of the meeting, and then anybody I can send that information out to everyone so that we've all got everybody's info. Does that sound good? Good. Thanks, Jessica. All right, let's start out with, I'll just introduce myself. Obviously, you know who I am, Karen Onan. I'm with the East Central Regional Transportation Coordinating Council. And Michelle Thomas is my cohort. We work together on this project, and Michelle, take it away. And then if you wouldn't mind, if everybody would pick somebody, because I will lose track who's talking and who hasn't. But if you could all help me out this way, that would be great. So Michelle, I'll hand it off to you.
Sure. Good morning, Michelle Thomas with the East Central Regional Development Commission and the RTCC. Sandra?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to navigate the chat.
No, that's just fine.
I'm Sandra Wheelacore. I am Assistant Director of Operations for Arrowhead Transit. I've been in position for about 6 months now, and I'm just starting to dig in down in the southern counties. So I'm excited to be involved in this. Helen. Good morning, everybody. I'm Helen Piper. I'm with Timber Trails in Kanabec County, and we are looking forward to the fair.
Yeah. You want to pick someone, Helen?
Oh, Bob. We'll make it easy. Bob?
Well, good morning, everybody. Bob Voss. I'm the executive director here at the East Central Regional Development Commission. Thanks for your participation in our little group this morning.
I'll pick on Jeanette.
I didn't pick somebody, did I?
I got her.
Did you? Good.
Yep.
Good morning. I'm Jeanette Kester, the Pine County Public Interest on the ECRDC board, and I'm the liaison. Is that a good word, Karen?
Yeah, it's
To the RC, whatever, TT. There's too much in there. Anyway, thanks. Nice to be here.
Thanks, Jeanette. Tim?
Where are you, Tim?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tim Schmutzler. I work with Phase Industries. We are a nonprofit supporting students and adults with disabilities in East Central and now Southwest Minnesota. And it's good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Jessica?
Good morning. I'm Jessica Peterson with Lighthouse Family Services. I'm program coordinator for our day treatment program. And our day treatment program serves kiddos 3 to 12. But Lighthouse, we serve East Central Minnesota adults and children for mental health services. So happy to join you this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica.
Natalie.
Thanks, Jessica. I'm Natalie Mathewson. I'm the Community Development Supervisor with Central Minnesota Council on Aging. We're one of the 6 regional area agencies on aging in the state, and we work with 14 counties in the central part of the state. I directly work with our 5 eastern counties. I'm going to pass it over to Tony.
All right. Good morning. Tony Buttacavoli, Executive Director at Family Pathways. We're a nonprofit that operates mostly on the East Central side of Minnesota and one county in Wisconsin. And we do food access, domestic violence services, and services for aging adults in the community. And let's see, I don't think Kathy Bursky's gone, so I'll choose Kathy.
Good morning, Kathy Bursky, Kanabec County Community Health and Timber Trails. Brandon?
Sorry, I'm slow. Brandon Nermy, I'm the director for Arrowhead Transit.
I'm gonna pick on Sarah Triber.
Hi, I'm Sarah Triber. On my day job, I work for Mille Lacs Corporate Ventures, which is owned by the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. I do housing development and economic development for them. As an aside, I'm also on the East Central Regional Development Commission Board of Directors as the Kanabec County Public Interest.
Thanks, Sarah. Michelle Lichtig.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Michelle Lichtig with MnDOT. I'm the Mobility Management Coordinator and work closely with the RTCCs.
Thanks, Michelle. Rhonda?
Hi, Rhonda Torgerson, Fleet Operations Manager for TriCap.
Thank
And
you.
I'm not sure.
I'll just keep on going. Nobody's moving, which is nice. Chris?
Hi, I'm Chris Klopp from Mille Lacs County Public Health. I'm the Community Health Services Administrator and also facilitating our Mille Lacs County Transportation Group.
Thanks, Chris. Linnell. Hi, Linnell. Look at those flowers behind you.
Yes, hi, I'm Linnell Popusky, and I'm the Northwest Regional Development Commission RTCC Coordinator.
Thanks for being here. Anne. Uh-oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Anoka
Okay.
County Transit and Anoka County TCAP. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan?
Hi, I'm Ryan Palmer. I'm just an income maintenance supervisor from Chisago County. I sit in on this to see if there's anything that will affect us. We don't really have a transportation committee or anything to that effect in our county. Everything is done through MNET or whatever it's called at this point, and just seeing if there's anything that we can benefit from.
Well, thanks for coming, Ryan. Jeff?
Hey, good morning. Jeff Phillips from Region 5. I am the Mobility Manager Coordinator for the RTCC over here.
Welcome, Jeff. Barbara?
Barbara Willard. I am the Director of Transportation for TriCap.
Thanks, Barbara. How about Barbara Bursack?
Good morning. I'm so used to being the only Barbara. Washington County Mobility Management.
Thank you. Tina, hi.
Hi, good morning. Tina Neary with MnDOT. I'm a transit project manager based out of Duluth, and I work with Arrowhead and Kanabec counties, among several others.
Thanks for being here, Tina. Mark?
Hi, everybody. Mark Shimmerhorn, Anoka County Transit and TCAP.
Thanks, Mark. Beverly, hi.
Hi, Beverly Silva-Tolliver, Arrowhead RTCC.
Thank you. Elliot, hi.
Good morning, Elliot McFadden. I work at MnDOT. I am the Greater Minnesota Shared Mobility Coordinator.
And then I have Frank, and then I don't know, I want to wait with Frank for a second, but I'm wondering who's 612-390-5218? Anybody recognize that number? We have a silent person on the line. Okay, well, with that then, I think I would like to introduce you, Frank. And then, well, I'm wondering, before we move on to your presentation, I'd like to get an update from our public transit providers. But I would like to introduce you, Frank, before that, because I don't want to leave you hanging over there.
Sure, no problem. Frank Dalma with the University of Minnesota. I'm a little bit later on the agenda, and I'll be giving more in-depth introductions to myself and expertise, as well as that of the rest of the folks I'll be working with, so I'll keep it short with that right now. And yeah, happy to wait my turn. The other folks may be joining a little bit later as well.
Wonderful. We really appreciate you being here. Thank you. Okay, working down the agenda. I would like to have some updates, if you wouldn't mind, from each of the public providers. And also I've got Tammy on here from TriCap Volunteer Driver Program, and she's coming up first. So Tammy, would you mind giving us a little update on what's happening with your program in Mille Lacs County and the area over on that side of town, over that side of the state? Is she still on? I know she was popping on and off. Did we lose her?
She did send me a message that said she has a horrible connection, that she was continuing to try to connect.
Okay. Well, if you happen to see her pop on, Barbara, will you, if I don't see her, will you let me know?
Sure.
And so you're on the agenda next. So would you mind giving us an update?
So we are still in the middle of doing service design, looking at our service design, doing the analysis and making some changes. We are, like I said, in the middle of that project, working with the MnDOT consultants to do that. And hopefully we'll have that wrapped up by the end of the month. So that's pretty much what has been our main focus. I think Rhonda's on, she could give an update as far as where we're at with our buses.
Yes, we've got about 4 new buses that came in January for our 2020 contract. And I think we just finally received all 4 of them about a month ago. They had multiple issues that they were working on. And brand new buses with lots of issues is a great start. But we finally have them now into service. And then we're going to be receiving a bus from our 2021 contract from North Central. They're just working on a couple small things they have to adjust. And then the 2 that we ordered from Hoagland's, they accidentally didn't order the sensors on the buses, so they had to reorder both the buses. So, yep. So now we're looking at another 6 months before we receive those from the 2021 contract. Our ride counts have decreased slightly now that we're into summer, which typically happens. We usually average around 11,000 rides, and a little bit more than that sometimes per month, but I think June was around 9,500. And other than that, we're short-staffed on drivers, and we have had to cancel one of our new service routes in Sauk Center due to a shortage of staff. And that's about it.
How are things looking in Mille Lacs County? Just because, that's where we sort of overlap there. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are as far as ridership you're referring to?
With that and, services. Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as that goes, we have decreased in ridership in Mille Lacs County, especially the Princeton area. I know and we actually had to cancel our new service route there for a few months due to issues with our buses and not being able to put into service our new buses. And so we did have to close a route down there for a few months. But ride counts have actually decreased in the Princeton area. We typically have 2 buses running, and there's quite a bit of time between rides. So they are out and about with marketing efforts, going to businesses, dropping off flyers, and trying to increase our ridership. So not sure why the decrease.
No, I don't know. Okay. Well, thanks, Rhonda.
Yep.
Tammy, you came on. Are you with us? Okay. All right. Well, either Brandon or Sandra, would you like to talk a bit about Arrowhead Transit?
I can hear you. I think Karen might have just frozen up.
Oh, okay.
There I am.
Oh no, Karen's not frozen.
Oh, Okay, so you can hear me?
Yeah, can hear you, Tammy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm having terrible connection here, so I'm on my phone now. So yeah, volunteer driver, we're kind of holding steady. We are we have our volunteer driver count is at about 37 right now. We just got another one signed on, so we've been able to do a few extra rides having the extra drivers. Our ride count is generally around 1,300 per month. This last month it was a little lower as well, but that does happen in the summer for us too. Yeah, we're pretty much just holding steady. We just are nothing much happening with us right now.
Okay. Well, it sounds good. It's 37 drivers. That's great.
Yeah, our drivers are great. They do mostly the long runs. We have done a lot more self-pay rides. I should mention that. We started off, we used to just do like 1 or 2 a month, and now we've been doing between 12 and 20. So that's kind of taken off. We just do self-pays for the people who don't have a funding source to pay for theirs, and if we have a driver that's close by. So that's kind of exciting to be able to give some people rides that did not have an opportunity before.
Exactly. Wonderful. Thanks, Tammy.
Yeah, sorry, I'm outside. I said to go outside, and now I don't have my notes next to me. So I'm kind of lost out here.
Well, it's good that you were able to pop on. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you.
Tammy, this is Linnell from the Northwest region. Can you tell me about your self-pay riders?
Yeah,
What does
so
that
we
mean
do.
exactly?
Sure. So we do self-pays for people. So right now we work with 5 counties and Medica and Blue Ride. And if you don't have a funding source to pay for your ride, I still need to do the same sort of ride, go to a medical appointment, go to a family visit, whatever. And it's mostly for if you live in, say, one town, have to get to another town. So you don't have another transportation option, then you can do a self-pay. We find a volunteer driver the closest to the person, and it equals out to 89 cents per mile. And so it does, cost, but it's a lot cheaper than other options for them, especially if they have to go a long distance.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
And the driver does go, they do just wait. So there's no cost to them for the wait time. And so that's helpful as well, because some of the other places that they can try to find a ride, they actually charge them the miles, and then they also charge, for the driver to wait for them. And so it's still a cost-effective option. It's just that we try to keep a running tally of the people who do call, and it's just out of their range for being able to pay that much. So we're trying to work on something where maybe we could help sustain or help subsidize a ride, so that if someone needs a ride and only can pay for maybe a portion of it, that we could maybe pick up the rest. So we kind of have that in the works, but we don't have that in place yet.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sandra, did you want to talk at all about Arrowhead, or do you want to tag team with Brandon, or how do you want to handle this?
Well, this is my first time on one of your meetings, and I don't know if Brandon would like to give the update, or if he'd like me to. But again, I'm just kind of learning the southern counties. I'm going to be spending a lot more time down there, just kind of digging in, seeing exactly what our routes are doing, and getting my head all wrapped around all around them, so that we can, we obviously maybe have some opportunities there to make things a little bit more efficient. We're getting some new buses in. I heard you guys talking about that, and we were on hold for a while as well because of a safety recall, but those have all been fixed now. So we're actually getting I think the last of our 9 buses for 2022 are coming in next week. So that's really exciting, because we needed that.
Mm-hmm.
So just been having some really good information coming up at our Transit Advisory Committee meeting in the Cambridge area. So that's been really nice for me. So I'm thankful for everyone who's been participating in those and giving me updates on those. I'm going to be coming down and working with some of those Isanti County people to see what we can do to get some service, some children who need services between North Branch and Cambridge. And we actually have routes in the area. So that, it's just, it's all good stuff. I'm really excited that I've met a lot of you down there and feeling very connected to the area. So.
Well, we're glad that you're working with us and that you've entered into the realm of our area. So it's yeah, it's great to have you, Sandra. Thank you. See here, Helen. Hi, Helen. Can you give us an update?
I can. Good morning, everybody. So here at Timber Trails, just like everybody else in the state, we've submitted our budget. Now we wait to see how it works out. The biggest thing, we've got two kind of forward things we're moving into. We're getting ready for the fair, which is one of our biggest promotions of the year. It's also one of our best times. Last year at the fair, I don't know, do you want me to share a story?
Sure.
Because it was really cool. Last year at the fair, sometimes there's one thing that happens that makes everything worthwhile. Last year at the fair, a young woman come in and she was obviously struggling with some physical disabilities. And as we visited, we learned that she had recently been involved in a car accident and was learning to live her new normal, which was going to be with some pretty significant disabilities. And she was scheduled to ride the bus for the very first time the following week. And she was a little nervous about it. And so I got to take her out back and show her our bus. And she was really hesitant, but with a little bit of encouragement, she actually did get on and use the lift to get on and off. And I just really felt like she was a whole lot better prepared to be on the bus and to move forward. And I remember that, and it's a year ago, but I still remember thinking, wow, we really succeeded with that one. So that's why the fair is so important. We talk to so many people. The other thing we've got going, and we're still trying to do a big push on is our, what we call Beyond Timber Trails, for that areas in those areas in Kanabec County that are outside the Timber Trails service area, that people can get some transportation. We have a grant from East Central or from CMCOA, not East Central, CMCOA. We're right now this week, we did some more brochures, and the county has an awesome GIS maps guy. And so Chris will be out and about in those parts of the county this week, getting flyers put up in churches, cafes, post office, wherever. He's spent some time researching any place where he might be able to hang a flyer, and he's going to be going out there and doing that. For a while, we had a gentleman who used it almost weekly, and then he got a car, and so we haven't had any rides, and that's a little disappointing. So, but I still got to believe our biggest thing is getting word out to the people. And that's what this next couple weeks and month is going to be about. That and figuring out what we're going to do with the MnDOT budget. So,
Karen,
thanks everybody.
Helen, I have a question. At a meeting we had recently, you guys had talked about like flyers and stuff. And I apologize, but I haven't seen anything come through, because we can certainly send that out broadly. We get into a lot of homes in the region and stuff. So,
okay.
If you have it, could you please send a electronic copy of what
copy
you're
of it? Okay. So what I have is the one side is just like the 30-second infomercial of what it is, and then what I just flipped over, and on the back side I copied that map. I'll send you both copies or both sides of it, but it's not one unit. It's two different things, and you'll have to do with it what you need.
That's okay. We can use it and then put it on our outreach and stuff, focusing on Kanabec County, the area.
Okay.
So
now, do you want me to send that to you or to Karen?
Oh, yeah, both. There you go.
Both? Okay. All right. We'll do that.
Yeah, we've got some information on our website as well. And we've done a couple postcards that are on there too.
And some social media.
Yeah, social media, Facebook. And then also hoping to have one of the vans at the fair with the magnet on it, with the advertising on it, so it's a driving billboard. Yeah, I think that's going to be really helpful to have that there. And right, I'm excited. So if anybody wants to visit us at the fair, we'd love to have you come. And I like to ride on the tilt-a-whirl, so if you get a ticket, I'll ride with you. If my side is better by then. Anyway, without
Let me
further-
interrupt really quick if you don't mind.
Go
Ellen,
ahead,
can you
Brandon.
send that information to Sandra as well? And we can develop a digital form and push that out through our social media as well.
Okay.
Were you talking, are you, Brandon, you want my information? Is that what you said?
For the route that you were just talking about.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. I'll tell you what, I'll send it to Karen and she can put it out on the mailing list for whoever might want it.
Sounds good.
Also, at the fair, we are in the transportation building. Come and see us.
Yeah, we've got our own building. This is nice. It's not a beautiful building, but it's our own building. All right. Well, I think we're at a point now, unless anybody would like to say anything. Any comments, questions? I think now it's time for us to talk about our new grant. It's we were awarded tactical support for empowering small Minnesota communities. It's a program that makes a really we're working with the Center for Transportation Studies at the University of Minnesota. We're excited for the opportunity to work with these wonderful people, and we want to explain to you what it's all about, what we're doing, and introduce you to the folks that are working with us. And we are also combining this I don't know if I want, how do you call it, a grant? It's a program. And we're working with Lighthouse Family Services. So in this together with them, because it was empowering small Minnesota communities. We picked Kanabec County because they're in the center of our region and they touch all of our other transit providers. So granted, it is just focusing on Kanabec County, but in a way not, you know what I mean? It's sort of got feelers out for everybody. But then with Jessica and Lighthouse, they're in Mille Lacs County, that's where their program is. And so it joins that together as well. So I'm really excited to introduce to you Frank Doma. I'm probably pronouncing your name wrong, and I know you just said it, and I can't remember how you pronounced it, but I will let you take it from here. And if you would like me to, I can run your slideshow, or you can either way.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Karen. Thanks for that introduction. I'm going to give a shot to sharing my screen here, although you do need to give me permission.
Yeah, I gotta figure out how to do that.
If you go to the share screen button, there should be a little caret in the upper right-hand corner.
Yeah.
And that allows multiple people.
I know, and that's hold
Yeah.
on.
Okay, I think I'm good
I
here.
just did it, Karen.
Oh, good.
You should be
thank
able
you.
to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's see. I've got that, and I need to go to a presentation, see if we can get to full screen here. The computer sometimes takes us just a minute to, there we go. Does everybody see the presentation full screen?
Yes.
Great. So appreciate the introduction again, Karen. I'll talk a little bit about the overall program that is allowing this project to go forward, and then I'll get into the detail of the project itself. Yeah, I am Frank Dalma from the Humphrey School of Public Affairs. I am listed as the PI, but the team we've got together are all very strong folks, and they'll all be bringing significant contributions themselves. The Empowering Small Minnesota Communities program is actually it's a grant from the state legislature asking for the Center for Transportation Studies, or actually more accurately the University of Minnesota, to provide support and technical assistance to small communities on infrastructure project analysis and development, including consideration of sustainability, resiliency, and adaptation to the impacts of climate change, and efficiencies through coordinated investments in other infrastructure or assets. So that's quite a broad definition. Certainly one important word there is infrastructure, and transportation is a key part of what goes into infrastructure. And so this project fits into that. The overall vision for the project is to assist small Minnesota communities develop resilient infrastructure and strengthen their social, environmental, and economic fabric. This kind of work with community-based transit, I think, fits into that vision very easily. We did have a definition of small Minnesota communities being 15,000 or less, ideally 5,000 or less. I think we can work with that and not have to make it a big deal as we go forward here, because there are a lot of small Minnesota communities in the service area here. And the goal for the program overall is to work with communities on efforts that add value to the community and get more benefit from local and state investments, add capacity to support communities and support in pursuit of their goals, and support development of projects that could be competitive for additional future funding. Specifically for this project, the goals we articulated are to articulate key transit needs for the area, noting in particular those related to youth transportation and non-emergency medical trips. As we find the data reveals, we want to note the key legal and policy constraints that are operating to create gaps or transit needs as they currently exist. Note areas where we need more data to be able to improve current service plans, and provide suggestions for addressing those needs articulated above, including identifying potential additional funding sources if appropriate. And I'll get back to those in just a minute. But first, I wanted to get to the folks who will be doing this research. As I've mentioned, I'm at the Humphrey School of Public Affairs at the university. My area of expertise that I bring here is in transportation planning. Overall, I do work that relates to the legal and policy aspects of new transportation innovations. This includes things like self-driving cars and so forth. But for today, some of my background is I've done a fair amount of work in the past with the Minnesota Council on Transportation Access, including looking at issues related to volunteer drivers, vehicle sharing, and other potential innovations. Also, I've done work up in the Grand Rapids area, looking at their transportation needs and helping identify what could be ways to move forward. Sandra may recall meeting me a couple of times in those efforts. To look at this, we also have Ali Reza Khani, who's an associate professor in the Civil Engineering and Geoengineering department here at the University of Minnesota. He brings that engineering perspective, looking at the data and the numbers and transit network modeling that can go a long way to helping identify what could be opportunities for future service, future funding. And then also on the back on the qualitative side, Michael Darger, who is with Extension. He's a community economics specialist, but he's got a subject expertise also in community engagement. And so he and I will be working together to kind of follow up. This is just our initial meeting with you folks. We'll probably meet with a number of you at least one or two more times as we continue to understand kind of what the issues are. Also want to mention Molly Zins. She is the Executive Director of the Central Regional Sustainable Development Partnership, also with the University of Minnesota Extension. She is the one who's been the main contact with Karen and Michelle and Jessica. Jessica, yeah. I don't have everybody's name in front of me, but with Lighthouse, I apologize for that. And helped develop the proposal as it came. She's not able to be with us today, but she will be somebody that is also a good contact as this project goes forward, also for the history. I wanted to also kind of mention that the project has been run through the Center for Transportation Studies, which is a university-wide department at the university, and they're kind of the main administrative venue for making this move forward. I should also mention that while Molly's not able to be here today, Professor Connie and Mr. Darger, I believe, have both joined us. And they'll be available for answering questions at the end. And just wanted to let you know they also are taking an interest today. So as I mentioned, the goals of this project are to look specifically at transit needs in the East Central Minnesota area with the Lighthouse perspective, also looking in particular at youth transportation and non-emergency medical trips. But as I mentioned in the title, we're looking at meeting the transportation needs of young people, seniors, and everyone else. So this will be fairly broad in terms of users, with also a particular focus on that subpopulation. How did we get to this point? Mentioned Lighthouse being on board along with East Central. Molly had been in touch with both organizations, and they both submitted proposals for having folks from the university address their needs. And so I saw the two opportunities here from East Central RDC for Rural Public Transportation Coordination Planning, and for Transportation Program Research from Lighthouse, and thought that they had some similar core questions, and that we might be able to address both of these through one project. And so when it came to writing a proposal to get funded by the Empowering Small Minnesota Communities project, we brought the two together. Essentially what we're looking at here, this is a map actually that I've grabbed from the material that was submitted by East Central, of some of the great work they've done already trying to identify current transit services and what the gaps are. Also some of the surveys that you've done. You can see there are areas without coverage within this area. We want to build upon the work that was done by East Central, and then also build upon work that Lighthouse has done, discussing how they are not able to meet the needs of their clients because of transportation issues, and also talk about how some of those transportation issues can be unique to those populations, pointing out where there's differences between providing transportation for the general public, or transit for the general public, and specific trip types that meet Lighthouse's needs. So we're going to do this in kind of two aspects. One, as I mentioned, Mr. Darger and I are going to be trying to engage with stakeholders, take advantage of maybe meetings like this, other existing opportunities to just hear about the situation, get to understand what is the current status of service, what are the current challenges. Even just those updates today were quite informative to me. But also we will be interested in doing some follow-up with surveys, interviews, maybe focus groups, to make sure we're getting good coverage. Then I'll also be doing a sub investigation looking at the particular issues related to youth transportation and non-emergency medical transportation, drawing upon my previous work as well as what we learn here, so that we make sure that when we're discussing the needs, we are particularly pointing out the needs of that group. Then Professor Connie will be looking at the quantitative data, as well as the maps and so forth, to identify service gaps, and be working, trying to work with the providers to come up with additional options to potentially address these gaps. Just even hearing in the discussion already this morning, there's a lot of innovation going on, a lot of new efforts to reach these riders, and we certainly want to be able to capture those. We want to build on those, and in no way do we want to be coming out and saying we know better than those of you who are on the ground. We want to be coming across here as a resource to try to help further the work that's going on. What we'll wind up with here in about a year's time, reports of what we've learned, some new maps and suggested next steps that might provide some new potential improvements. Again, I want to point out that the folks who are the best experts at what are the challenges are the folks otherwise on this meeting here. And so we are not going to be proposing that we know better and bringing in a new design or a new service proposal at this point, but hopefully working together with you such that we can move forward in developing some new ideas and plans to move forward with those. And so with that, be happy to take any questions. As I mentioned, I know that Professor Connie is on, and I believe Mr. Darger is too. Don't want to take up all the rest of your time. So Karen, I'll turn it back over to you to go ahead and monitor the discussion as long as we've got the time to do so.
Excellent. I'm looking to see if there's any questions in the chat box. Does anybody, I don't see any. Does anybody have any questions for Frank or the rest of the team?
Well, this is Michelle. I just had a real quick question. Could you walk us through how you think the surveying will occur, and how will you connect with people that you want to, who you're seeking input with? What's sort of your survey outreach design?
Yeah. We're still developing that at this point. The proposal, as we wrote it, was fairly high level. And the survey would be in a supplement to more of these in-person opportunities at existing meetings or in focus groups. This would be an opportunity to reach out to folks that we otherwise might not hear from, and make sure that we're getting a full set of responses. So the first attempt is going to be more in this kind of in-person, real-time qualitative outreach.
Just to mention too, oh, I see Elliot's got his name up, but let me just mention this. We've got I think Helen and I have mentioned numerous times today that we have the county fair coming up, which is in Kanabec County. And if we can take a hold of any questions, we can present those to the folks that come to the fair, who may be a good group of people to be able to help us come up with some answers and, answer these questions. So we're meeting tomorrow, so it's something we might want to talk about. Hi, Elliot.
Yeah, sorry if I missed this. I got pulled off for just a second on the call, but what is, did you mention the timeline, like when you're expecting this to be done and wrapped up? I'm just thinking of it because these are both projects that have also been going through our Moving Greater Minnesota Forward program in different phases, and we're also trying to work with those projects to help them identify funding opportunities as well.
Yeah, this is we've scoped this out to be about a 12-month project. This is, I think something that should go on in coordination with some of those other efforts. We don't want to sound duplicative at all. And so this is just an opportunity to, hopefully continue to build on some of those things. And if there are potential additional funding sources that MnDOT's aware of and thinks that should move forward, that's something we'll want to be aware of and be able to kind of build on that. And if we can help support that, we don't want to be trying to create a competing proposal or anything like that.
Right. I don't see anything I see it complementary, because the Moving Greater Minnesota Forward program is, I think, a little bit different aspect of project development than what you guys are working on. So I appreciate it. I'll probably try to follow up and meet with you guys to talk a little bit more about it.
Great. Thanks, Ellie.
Natalie mentioned in the chat that she heard that one focus area is children and younger population. Will the survey include other age groups and populations as well? And yes, I would say yes, if you would agree with me on that, Frank. I mean, I believe.
Yeah, I want to, not. I want to pull back and make sure that we're clear that surveys will not be the core of what we are doing here. East Central has done some really good surveying already. We don't want to necessarily go retreading that. We've got that kind of data. We want to be able to dig deeper in-person type of conversations to get greater depth in terms of what are the needs and so forth. But certainly, and we want to make sure that we are discussing needs of children and younger population, as that was the needs expressed by Lighthouse. But certainly there are other age groups and populations that are core constituencies for this kind of service. We'll be paying attention to that.
This is Helen, and I've been around for a long time, unfortunately, but one of the things that I'd learned that I'd pass on is speaks to exactly what you're talking about. A lot of times, way more than a person thinks, it is that one person to another person, sharing a story, getting the help that they receive. We've tried for decades to reach out to people with all kinds of things, and in the end it comes back to that. Most of the time it's that one-on-one interaction that brings somebody in.
Yeah, and that's why, being at the county fair gives us 4 days of face-to-face interaction with people. So I'm sure we're going to have an opportunity, because that's not coming up till the end of July. We'll have some time to kind of disseminate some possible questions or things that can help us build on what we're working on here. So, and yeah, we've done a lot of surveys, but we need some things to talk to people about. I mean, we want to hear what they have to say, but we can introduce a question that brings some more thoughts out of people. Anybody have any more questions, any more thoughts? We're really excited about this. It's new. We're having a meeting tomorrow at 3 o'clock. We're really going to dive into this a lot deeper. As we go along here, we're going to learn more, and we'll be bringing all of this information to you. So, thanks, Elliot. Elliot has to go. So do you have anything else you want to mention, Frank, or either Michael or Ali Reza? Would you have anything you wanted to say?
I think this has been terrific, and as you mentioned, Karen, we've got a smaller group meeting that Molly will also join on. And this feedback, I've made notes about the county fair and the local advisory councils to make sure that we put that into our consideration for sources for data. But yeah, you all may have noticed that Professor Connie and Mr. Darger have joined us. And they've even turned their cameras on. They've been able to hear this conversation as well. And if either of them would like to jump in, they've certainly got the opportunity at this point. Otherwise, I think we're ready to bring ourselves back into the conversation, get more detail on our plan.
I just say hi quickly and appreciate the opportunity to connect with you people and with the people of the region. And we are excited to bring some research to potentially help the communities and helping the people. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to share sort of an overarching comment. This is such a wonderful opportunity, a very strategic opportunity and wonderful opportunity that, and I just want to acknowledge all the different coordination within the university to do this deep inreach into small and rural communities in Minnesota. Understanding that there is a huge need for this type of learning and support among all the various departments and leadership that's within the university. I can't acknowledge that enough. So thank you.
Really appreciate that, Michelle. We often hear that the university doesn't do enough, and so glad that you're recognizing these efforts. And really, this is I really enjoy the opportunities to get out of the Twin Cities and do research, and it's all what extension is all about. So very glad to be doing this.
We're honored. Thank you. Well, with that, and I think that maybe you want to stick around for this conversation. I wanted to talk to everybody about a couple questions that were posed in the grant application, and one that I'd like to have right now with those who are in public transit. And the first question, there's two. What do our public transit providers need to know for the case to be made in substantiating the need for transfer stations? Now, our grant that the RDC put in focused on the idea of the transfer stations. And when we talk about the transfer stations, I know I'm a broken record here, but we're not talking about building a building. We're talking about at the first step, to just put a location in, such as a Dollar General, where a public transit provider can, if somebody calls in and says, I need a ride, I have to get to Malacca. And so this transfer station could be in Ogilvie at the Dollar General. A person can be dropped off with Timber Trails and brought to the Dollar General, and then with the scheduling, with TriCap picked up and then taken to Malacca. We'll keep it really simple. These first ones that we do, we want to have some early adopters that will actually use this and talk about it and get some testimonials about it. We're only looking at taking baby steps here, but in order to change your service plan, you have to go through channels, and we understand that. But what do you need as a public service provider to make those changes in your plan to be able to move a little bit outside of where your area is? And maybe even a little bit further in if you're TriCap coming into Ogilvie. That's coming a bit farther into Kanabec County. Just a question.
We got to find these people. We got to make the connection with the people that need the service.
Yeah. I don't know what comes first,
Yeah, chicken or egg.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to have the chicken first. And find the people and like we're doing with Beyond Timber Trails, put the service out there and find the riders. They say they're there. That every survey says they're there.
Yep.
I think that's what I think is going to be beautiful about this project with U of M, which Lighthouse coming from a private entity, but serving people, connecting with people on a daily basis. The work in Mille Lacs County could potentially be that catalyst to find the people, connect maybe with the people, and that's where our work is happening. Even on the county level, we know they're helping or connecting with people that need those resources and such. And so I think that's where it's going to be a really parallel process, which we're excited. And it's just to be, I think, lots of communication, lots of trying, and baby steps, like Karen says. But I'm excited because that's going to be my focus, is how can we connect with the people and know what they need, and then be able to communicate that to the providers.
Boy, this is a good partnership. There's a lot that goes along with this, and we've got experts that are working on this with us, so we're really happy about that. So there's going to be the scheduling for multiple provider connections, and I think Elliot can probably step in with this a little bit too. And, we want to make it easy on the riders. We can't make it really difficult for them and, as far as payments and such like that, but we're getting into the weeds there. And then the other question is more for Tina, would be what does MnDOT need to know in order to deviate from public providers or 5310 designated service plan? So then how can MnDOT come in and help move the needle a little bit in order to allow transit providers to come into another area, such as Anoka County coming up into Isani County?
And just for clarification, I believe she's talking about 5311, not 5310.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, Brandon.
Oh, sorry. But
yeah, 5311 is public transit funding.
I don't know why I had 5310 on there. Okay.
Yeah, and Karen, I'll just let you know, I know that Tom and Sue would like any questions, discussion directed towards them about this. So, I can briefly just give a little information, but I think Sue and Tom would be more the ones that could discuss this more with you. But I think we'll have to see what comes out of this and then take a look. The thing is with looking at, you mentioned like with Anoka or Washington counties, those are with Met Council. And so that's more just coordination and working together to make sure that, both, the transit systems, MnDOT and Met Council are okay with how the service would be going into one county and the other, and how that can be done. So there's just more coordination on that part. That's probably the main thing around that. And that goes with any of the counties, is coordinating and working together. So everyone's in an agreement. And so with the 5311 funding, just remember it's public transit funding. So if you're looking at for specific groups, we have to look if that starts getting into charter service regulations, which is not allowable with public transit funds. But that's something, as we look at the information that's coming out of this study, what it's looking like and what is being planned. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to chime in like the broken record. This is Helen. Public transit isn't going to be the sole solution to this because of just what Tina said, and especially transporting children. That as a public transit provider, that scares the bejeebers out of me, because our bus drivers are there to drive the buses and to keep the vehicles safe and on the roads, and they can't have eyes in two places to watch what's happening on the bus and the other. And so that's why I'm so hopeful for the Beyond Timber Trails and the type of transportation that is that small vehicle. It's expensive. My gosh, it's expensive. I get it. but we're not gonna be able to put kids on public transit buses and have them going unassisted, and so there's got to be this hybrid. It's got to be both.
Yeah, thanks, Helen. Something else I also wanted to just mention too is with the transit systems, they have a certain amount of hours that's tied with their funding. And so there is no new service funding, at least for the foreseeable future till 2026. And I can't say beyond that what our funding levels will look like and if we'll be able to offer new service funding. What that then means is if you're looking at transit systems needing to add any further routes, transit service, anything, there's no funding, no new funding for that. And transit systems then will have to look within their current service levels if they have any extra or like unused hours that they are not using and that they don't foresee that they will be using to transfer to like create another route or something. So that is another thing you're gonna have to keep in mind. And that's something the transit systems can speak more on too.
Yeah, and I'll just circle that all the way back to what Helen had said at the very beginning. I know it's a chicken and the egg type situation, but it's definitely the chicken that comes first. So if we're going to be moving service hours from an existing service, we have to show that the hour utilization is more important over here than it is in where it's currently at. And so if we can't show that need, then there's no viable reason for us to take service away from one area to add it to another area.
Agreed.
Well, hey, I don't know what to say.
So the University of Minnesota, we need a miracle.
Say, Karen, this is Mark with Anoka County. Isn't this plan far enough out that it would be a chance to plan and hopefully collect extra funds for providers to provide that added service? I mean, we're not looking to start, I assume you're not looking to start this tomorrow. So isn't part of the goal that providers are able to find those extra dollars to expand and add service for this?
Right, good thought, yeah.
I would assume that would be the case as well, assuming that those dollars are sustainable and not just one-time or 3-year dollars just to pilot something and then not have any sustainability on the backside of it. The other question I guess I would have, and I'm sorry, I'm always the downer in this conversation, Karen, so you can throw things at me next time you see me. I'm curious what the value of having a transfer station is versus just working with individual systems that show our own individual need on transferring between the systems themselves. So the idea behind a transfer station is basically a multimodal idea where we can connect all different types of transportations together. If we're just talking about individual transit systems transferring between each other, I'm not understanding the value of creating a one single, you have to go there every time, whether there's somebody there or not type of transfer spot.
No. And that, okay, I want to explain that a little bit. My thought is that we find a location that's already existing, that's a sheltered spot where a person could get dropped off, such as like a Dollar General or City Hall or someplace that's safe that they can go into and wait for the next bus, the bus or a bus to come. And it's not a regularly scheduled thing, it's scheduled as needed. And you know, or it could be regularly scheduled, but on one day every week or every 2 weeks or something. We're very flexible. If that doesn't sound right, I mean, we're just trying to come up with some way of getting a person from one bus to another so that they can go farther. So, you know, if you meet, I'm just thinking because of timing, you want to make sure that a person has a place that's safe for them to go to. And
So-
if it's a lit place like a Dollar General, we don't have to build anything. But in the future, maybe then we would build something, but it's just a start, just to kind of, you know, start.
Mhm. So as part of this project, I guess just to ask some additional questions. So while this isn't a small part, kind of the smallest part of a transfer station is defining where it's going to happen. The hardest part of this is going to be integrating the logistics between each one of the transit systems. How do you know you're going to have somebody there? How are we going to communicate that? How far in advance do these communications have to happen? We have different requirements for notice on rides and pickups and that sort of thing. So for this, the hardest part from my perspective is going to be the logistics in between the transit systems and not necessarily the location.
I think that's part of what my proposal for Mille Lacs County especially, but you know, this could potentially, hopefully be transferable to other counties in the state. That it's the mobility management or a manager person. So it's potentially building an infrastructure that are people that can be these connectors. So for example, here at Lighthouse, we have a transportation person just for our day treatment program, but she is the coordinator between the schools, the counties, the families themselves, and all of these transportation companies. We do non-emergency medical transportation primarily, but it includes school district transportation. And anyway, thinking about those tasks she does that's her job, is figuring out the logistics for how do we get kiddo from point A to point B.
Yeah, a mobility manager, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopeful that we might have conversations to expand things like that too.
Yeah, and as far as the hours go, now that I've been the bearer of bad news, most of our routes are what's called route deviations. So even though that route doesn't necessarily go directly to that place, if it's in that deviation window, it might not be an impact to service hours at all. Or if it's 1 mile outside of it, then we're talking about a 10-minute difference in service hours, and that's not going to be enough of an impact to require cutting service someplace else. So that will also have to be taken into consideration when picking these spots, because we can do a couple of these overlaps. And also 1 hour a week, if that much, for each one of the systems, depending on who's going which way. Again, not a major impact, and probably would not significantly impact the service design, and would probably just be able to be deployed.
Nice. Thanks, Brandon.
So, I just wanted to comment, because this is a lot of issues to unpack, and also a big opportunity that if it does get unpacked, what it could bring to the region. And that's why it is a challenge that's bigger than what can be handled within the resources. And that's why we're so fortunate to have the university part of this. And that should be the open thinking that we can really engage with the university, because we're having this conversation and we have all these transit providers on this particular call. We're all talking to each other, we're sharing our concerns, and we're sharing our needs. This is something that perhaps wouldn't have happened 3-4 years ago. But now that with the work of the RTCCs and the transit providers, and the understanding that we are linked in finding solutions, is a huge step that I think all of you should look at yourselves and pat yourself on the back about. And to Jessica's comment, although we're talking about the issues in this region, they're not so outside of the normal bell curve here that it's not happening in other regions. This is going to be a rich opportunity both for the region and for MnDOT to understand how to look at service design, what is needed to really make sure that we are closing these gray area gaps. So you guys are going to be the in the vanguard. You're leading the way to, I think, significant statewide change that we're going to be sitting here 2-3 years from now. And we're going to be seeing what you have laid down as the footprints of change is going to be picked up in other areas.
I hope so.
I just have one more comment. This is Helen at Timber Trails. We've talked about a lot of the problems that we're going to have, and communication and coordination is a big one. And what we need is a non-proprietary software that is accessible to all of us, because Arrowhead uses one system and TriCap uses another, and here at Timber Trails we use a different. And what Brandon pointed out, somehow we got to bring this all together, and it can't be proprietary, and it can't be hugely expensive. I mean, we can't keep the software that we have now and then add another layer on top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the other thing is, how are we going to get folks to change too? That's another. But yeah, no, I totally get it. I agree. And we talked about that a little bit with Sandra with Route Match, you know, and then but being proprietary, you know, the idea of sharing that information, and that's tough. Yeah. So big learning experience.
So I just want to jump in, and I want to reiterate that we're a small group and it's not a huge amount of funding that we have at the university. So I'm not going to promise anything close to a miracle. But what we hopefully will do, we'll take information like this. It's terrific. And Karen and Michelle and Jessica will notice that I've been taking notes for our meeting tomorrow. That we can be able to articulate these questions in one place. Possibly identify some best practices from elsewhere that we may have heard of, and in the end throw a whole bunch of ideas out that some may work, some may not. Sandra may remember I did research in Grand Rapids back in 2008 where we came up with like 40 different ideas, and a few moved forward, but ultimately from those conversations, they think they helped move forward to the Go Marty service that is now operating in Grand Rapids. So just keeping these conversations going and trying to pull the pieces together is going to be one of our objectives. The other thing that spurred the funding from the legislature is that there, and this gets to Elliot's point, there are new funding sources that nobody, I'm going to exaggerate here, don't hold me to this, but nobody really knows the scope of them yet, from the IIJA and the Inflation Reduction Act. And so it's our hope that in these conversations, we may also learn of new funding opportunities that are beyond what have been used before.
Mm-hmm. Well, Frank, I will say that you have been involved in a lot of things since I've been in transit. In, you know, of course, in the Rapids area, there's been so much that you guys have done here, but I feel like you guys do a great job of digging in and finding out what will work, what doesn't work, what is needed, what resources are already out there. And I feel like you hold a lot of respect in this field, and so you might have a little bit more pull than you know, as far as, you know, your judgments on things and your research. So I'm really excited you're participating in this. I think it'll be
Well,
great
thanks,
for
Sandra.
everybody. Yeah,
It means a lot to hear that.
Well, thank you all for this great conversation. We have a lot going on and a lot to do. And if anybody here is particularly interested in getting more involved with this on maybe on a side note, other than our regular advisory board meetings, if you'd like to meet with us and talk more about this, just let us know, send an email to Michelle or I, and we can involve you in these conversations, because you're all very important to us regarding this. Before we end the meeting, I would like to give Michelle Lichtig a chance to give us a little update, talk to the group about what's going on with her. And then I think we will end the meeting.
Well, thank you. I'm going to be leaving state employment at the end of this month and moving on to some consulting opportunities. And I just want to thank all of you. It's almost been exactly 4 years that I've been involved in mobility management, and really getting a wonderful opportunity to work with the various regions, and in particular with East Central. There is a tenaciousness that is needed to make change, and it's definitely in the DNA of this region. And there's a lot of forces that say, oh, it can't happen, or this or that. But all of you, and I mentioned it earlier, coming together and having these types of conversations is the strongest way to bring advocacy and change. And I just want to acknowledge all the time that all of you have put in to making your region really responsive to the community needs, and really addressing some of these transportation gaps. So thank you.
Well, we're really going to miss you, and the opportunities that you've given us to charge forward and feel able to do the things that we're doing. And hopefully we'll be able to touch base, and you're always welcome to come and visit. We would love to have lunch with you anytime, and we don't want to lose you as your friendship. And good luck to you in all that you do, Michelle.
Yes, good luck to you.
I'd just like to say that it's been a privilege to work with Michelle. She's been a great leader for all of us working throughout the state, and you're going to be sorely missed.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that, I wanted to just mention one last thing, is that we have our next meeting in September, but September 12th. But now, if anybody, like I said, is interested in getting more involved with us and our project here with CTS and the university, where we welcome you to be involved with us and have input. So are there any other questions or thoughts? Well, I appreciate it. We are thankful for you for being here, and thank you again, Michelle. And I think we'll see you later this afternoon, actually. Yay, one more time. And thanks for the presentation, Frank, and we'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Awesome meeting.
Thank you.